At the start of this movie, Megamind is seen tumbling from the building. He is having flashbacks to his past at the same time. He was a former resident of another planet and an alien. When he was a baby, there was a disturbance on that planet, and it was discovered that it was about to be destroyed. The parents of Megamind were worried about him. He is then put inside a chamber, so as to keep him alive. They also put the fish he was holding in the chamber with him. They dispatched him to the Earth. He was traveling to the Earth from outer space in a spaceship. He observes that he has another spaceship, which also contained a baby. Metroman is his name. After extensive travel, both spacecraft get close to the planet. Landing was about to happen. Megamind's spacecraft was about to touch down on a magnificent home. In the meantime, the other spacecraft collides with it and lands on that house. On the residence where Megamind's spacecraft was about to touch down. Megamind's spaceship crashes into a prison as a result of its collapse. The prisoners notice it and are shocked. They speculate that he might have entered the facility for us. They think about talking about him. He is instructed and taught how to speak. The inmates display to him some images of criminals and law enforcement. It refers to offenders. They argue that because they detain criminals and thieves at random, police are incompetent. Robbery can be profitable for anyone. They were misinforming him. Whatever it is, we shouldn't steal or act improperly. The issue is that if prisoners bring Megamind up, his manners will be ruined. The image of Metroman in that magnificent home is on the opposite side. He was raised well by them. He had his hands clenched. Because his family was wealthy. He leads an enjoyable life. Megamind, on the other hand, is observing how the inmates behave. He makes a bike out of tools and number plates and rides it around the prison one day. Because of it, the prison was severely damaged and shattered. The head there was upset as a result, so they decide that because Megamind is older, he ought to be allowed into the institution. They made the right choice. As he enters the class, he observes that the Metroman was also present. It indicates that he was a classmate. All of his classmates liked Metroman because he was intelligent. He knew them as friends. Megamind tried to fit in as a new student as well. He also attempted to demonstrate some experiments, but the classroom starts to burn. Balls were to be used in an experiment that he was about to conduct, but they kept falling. It was decided to send him back to prison as punishment for his bad behavior. He couldn't handle it well. Years go by, they get older, Megamind turns bad, and Metroman was the city's champion. Megamind commits the criminal acts in the city, and Metroman puts a stop to them. For the town, he was succeeding. The people look up to him as a result and admire him. One day, Megamind set a watch to the jail's head. The name of the Metroman appeared there. Anyone can be transformed with the aid of this, so he has sent it to the jail's administrator. Megamind causes the head to go out while still in control, and a light comes out of the watch. As a result, the head transforms into Megamind. Security believes Megamind has left his cabin. He is once more dropped off at his cabin by security. When Megamind's plan is successful, he prudently takes the watch he gave the head. He leaves prison as his face reappears in the light from it. No one tries to stop him because he is sitting in his invisible car while dressed as his head. He starts the car and leaves that location. Then, a scene of the location where Metroman will appear appears. A sizable crowd had gathered there to welcome him. There were also some reporters present, including one woman. She was speaking to her cameraman, who likes her, as another invisible car arrived. While kidnapping her, that car carries the reporter along with it. It belonged to Megamind. The girl was taken to the location where Megamind would arrive. There is Megamind's reach. He kept it a secret. To the girl, he says, "You were brought here for a reason by me. You'll observe that nobody, not even Metroman, will come here to save you." "I won't panic," the girl says, "because I understand what you're thinking." "This is it," Megamind says, "so tell me now what I'm going to do with you." The reporter surrounds me with alligators before saying, "You're going to throw me into the alligators." Megamind had this in mind. Alligators were all around her. Megamind is surprised. How could she have known? Even though he places the missile close to her, the reporter already knew this. Later, Megamind says, "Okay, so you put a lot of trust in Metroman. Let's put that to the test before he arrives to save you." They speak by means of video. Megamind informs Metroman that I am keeping her busy. You can't possibly save her. You'll never figure out where we are. The reporter was so astute that she immediately gave the address to the Metroman. Megamind is still in awe of this. He never succeeds no matter how hard he tries to be cunning. Metroman, on the other hand, makes a move to protect the reporter. Metroman arrives at the location and discovers the reporter is not there. You arrive at the wrong address, according to Megamind. You'll be blasted by a missile soon. Megamind uses it to direct his pet to launch the missile. But it wasn't turning on. Megamind takes offense at this. After a while, the missile fires, and the area where Metroman was blown up. When a skeleton arrived at Megamind, he was pleased that Metroman is now over. He asks his pet fish to play the songs, and they dance and sing their way to the city. He then proceeds to the palace where Metroman's supporters were gathered. They are informed by Megamind that Metroman is no longer present. People ask Megamind, "Now will you rule on us, out of fear?" Megamind declares, "Obviously, I now rule over you people. You can live however you choose right now because I am not changing any rules." He then moves inside with his pet after saying this. After entering, he is relieved that he has finally taken up all available space. He spends a lot of money in vain. He makes a lot of clutter. However, he soon becomes bored and asks his pet what he should do. I'm free from responsibilities. Why don't we kidnap someone?" his pet fish asks. "No," Megamind says, "he used to stay depressed. This is not a good way." Then he realized that Megamind enjoys fighting, which was the case when Metroman was alive, and that his time was not wasted. It implies that he spends his time fighting Metroman. Megamind feels as though he has nothing to do when he is not present. When he emerged, the reporter was in a dejected state. They visit the location where Metroman's statue once stood because she also misses him. They approached him while carrying flowers in the mall. Megamind expresses regret to him. He begs for forgiveness, admitting that there is no fun to be had. "Come back so we can fight once more in my life without you." However, the reporter was also pleading with Metroman to return, saying that without him, the city was deserted. "The town requires you. The city is not well under Megamind's control. Why don't you come over and take him down?" The mall's owner has stated that it is time to close the mall. While remaining motionless, the reporter can hear the Metroman. While Megamind plans a sinister deed while holding a time bomb and flowers in his hand, she checks the other side. He dumps these items inside the shopping center. Mall's owner arrives and says, "The mall is close now, you can leave. I don't want you to stop in my mall so late." "Never before. I haven't met a more naughty or dangerous person than you." When Megamind hears this, he becomes furious and, while using a device to freeze him, turns him into a cube. He gets ready, and when the reporter shows up, he hasn't seen Metroman anywhere. She saw the mall owner, who was actually Megamind, and followed him down the elevator. It was all in her head. She begins to discuss Metroman with him. He depresses more. He is comforted by the reporter. Megamind is aware that the bomb has been thrown and that a blast is imminent. He tells the reporter to leave this area right away. "Okay, bye." As the reporter walked away, there was a blast, and fortunately, Megamind was also outside. He is struck by the concrete. Moving to. He considers creating another superhero in his hidden location. "I'll then fight with him. He might turn out to be a superhero who helps me out with everything." His test is successful. He takes a dandruff flake from the Metroman. He uses the DNA he extracts to create something. He will inject it into whoever he chooses to transform into Superman. The reporter calls Megamind because they exchange phone numbers, and the reporter initially believes it to be the mall owner's number. She reveals that I have located Megamind's hidden location to the mall owner, who is actually Megamind. Before hiding his experiments when the reporter arrives, Megamind hides his pet fish out of surprise. Megamind now needs to stop her, so he dons the mall owner's attire. He stops her. However, the reporter has already captured images of his experiments. The mall owner tries to call security, but the automated system recognizes Megamind as the caller. He had a new appearance. Then he unlocks a basement's hidden door. He moves in it while feigning the arrival of Megamind. The owner of the mall is now locked. He now appears before the reporter. The reporter is in possession of the gun used to inject the chemical into the population in the interim. They will then turn into superheroes. When Megamind tries to take the gun away from her, they shoot it instead. The injection hits the reporter's companion, who was also outside. He will now be the superhero, so to speak. Let's continue to look. When the reporter tried to leave, she opened the wrong door. She was about to stumble into an alligator-infested ditch. Megamind, who was dressed as the mall owner, flips her over. Megamind's machine starts pursuing them as soon as they emerge. Megamind was still dressed as the mall owner. He receives an explosive from the reporter, who instructs him to direct it toward Megan's lethal machine. It must be destroyed immediately. Unwillingly, Megamind must throw the explosive to his machine. There was a blast as they were leaving the building. The world was destroyed. As she exits, the reporter embraces Megamind, whom she had mistaken for the mall owner. Megamind is pleased with everything. He hadn't received a hug before today. He was sitting in his car with his pet fish. The reporter's companion, the cameraman, relocates to his home. Megamind relocates to his home along with his fish. Upon seeing Megamind, the cameraman becomes alarmed. While hitting something on his head with Megamind's pet, which causes him to pass out, Megamind transforms into an elderly man. The old man is in front of the cameraman when he first wakes up, and Megamind tells him, "I came from another planet to make you a superhero. Your body has been transformed. You possess the abilities as well. You will now battle Megamind." Because his body was strong and he felt strong inside, the cameramen are happy when they see him. He now encounters Megamind, and they begin to battle. Megamind was indirectly instructing him through it as well. Megamind was now content with his life's new twist. Additionally, he was pleased that the reporter was now his friend. However, the reporter is aware of him as the mall's owner. Megamind used to greet the reporter while dressed as the mall owner. She and he have a great time together. Megamind, on the other hand, debates with his fish. He wasn't doing enough, his pet fish was telling him, so he stopped. Megamind ignores it and states, "You can leave if you want." There, his pet fish departs. When the reporter approaches the cameraman, who is now a superhero, he says, "Will you agree to be my friend?" The journalist declines while claiming that I prefer someone else. Megamind meets her after it in the mall owner's attire. They eat together and socialize. While filming this from the window, the cameraman fell down. The reporter was holding his watch in his hand when their hands abruptly collided. When she touches his hand, Megamind changes into his real attire thanks to the watch, which is where he gets his change of attire from. When the reporter notices this, she runs away in fear. Megamind tells her that I was wearing that mall owner's attire as she sobs heavily. "I enjoy you." However, the journalist informs him, "I don't like you at all. I'm not into you. Leave right away. We don't even have a match." Megamind bends his head and walks away, sad. They went their separate ways as it started to rain. Megamind, who has been down all night, intends to battle Superman in the morning and give his life another twist. He enters Superman's home while tearing down the wall and discovers the stolen goods there. "I'm not happy, and I don't like my life," Superman tells him. "I want to be evil, but Megamind tells me to fight alongside him because while you are a good person, he is evil. Come fight with me after I've had a chance to behave badly in front of others." "No, I don't want to fight, and I'll keep to myself," the Superman declares. Megamind. Superman becomes enraged when the reporter calls his name and claims, "She was with me last night." He begins combat with Megamind. After a fierce struggle, Megamind hurls a copper ball at Superman in a fit of rage, but as he breaks it, he emerges. Megamind is shocked to learn that the Metroman was also created using copper particles, and that the copper ball didn't harm the Superman who possesses the Metroman's DNA. Metroman must still be alive because he rushes over. Together with him was the reporter. They arrive at the location and are shocked to see Metroman there. He has a full beard and a large collection of musical instruments. How did you manage to do all of this? Megamind asks Metroman. You didn't pass away? Metroman claims. I now understand you are a true hero with many powers, but you are misusing them. I quietly leave, and that evening I threw the bogus skeleton your way. I made the decision to live a secret life and pursue music. You are a true hero because your attempt to create a superhero failed. As you can see, he wants to be evil, so you must battle him. Go save the city while you fight him because he is destroying it. Now is the time to acknowledge your status as a hero. Megamind surrenders to the police without hesitation. He visits the prison once more. The reporter is abducted by the villainous Superman. By way of video, he alerts him to my kidnapping. When the reporter asks Megamind for help, he replies, I'm in jail right now, and walks away. I wish my pet was here so that we could flee together. Prison's head puts his hand on his watch in the meantime. Actually, it is found to be Megamind's pet. It was dressed in prison garb. It shows up in its real attire when it realizes Megamind is missing it. To assist Megamind, to save the reporter and take down the villain, they emerge from the prison. He has become evil because he is playing the part of Superman. He's about to obliterate everything. Superman engages in combat with Megamind and his companion after they arrive. Superman becomes perplexed as a result of Megamind's replica, which he created, and Megamind He pulls a gun out of his car and uses it to turn off Superman's abilities. It suggests that his skills will come back. He shoots at Superman as he passes in front of him. His powers are consequently turned off, and he returns to being a cameraman as usual. The mirror in Megamind's fish tank was also broken in the midst of all of this. The fish is released into the water by Megamind before it perishes. The reporter gives him a hug and thanks him. Here, they admit their feelings for one another. In front of them, there were a lot of other people. The citizens can see that Megamind has saved them. They both express gratitude to him, and they are now close friends. Megamind makes the decision to start helping people. He will do. Concern for the populace. Here is the film's resolution with that. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.